Most of you said that it was to make your first million, so that's what we're doing today. Making $1 million sounds like a lot of money if you've never earned high figures before. It might seem like an obsolete objective, but the truth is, 1,700 new millionaires are created each day. That's over 620,000 new millionaires every year. So how do they do it? How come so many people become millionaires, and why can't you do the same? Well, it's all about positioning and how valuable you are to the marketplace. If the marketplace thinks you deserve $1 million or more, it will in turn give you that amount. In order to make this video, we researched people whom we know about and have made more than $1 million in the last couple of years. Who knows? Maybe one of them will spark an idea which will be the beginning of a long journey for you. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at @alux. With that said, here are 15 ways to make $1 million. Number 1. Be in the top 1% of a lucrative profession. Shocking, right? Be really good at a job that pays really well. It's super easy to become a millionaire if you know what you're doing and you're specialized. Doctors, lawyers, and upper management in the US and Europe earn on average over $150,000 per year. If you're really good at what you do and hyper-specialized, you can double or even triple that amount. The highest paying job with the lowest barriers of entry is sales. If you know how to sell, you can make a ton of money no matter where you find yourself. Compared to doctors and lawyers, the 1% of salespeople earn north of $250,000 per year, which will have them pass the $1 million mark in just 4 years. Not to mention that selling is an incredibly valuable skill for all strategies we discuss throughout this video. We'll make a video on the best books on selling sometime soon, but if you want to start today, we recommend you pick up the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone or the Sales Bible by Jeffrey Gitomer. You can get one of them for free as an audiobook when you sign up at alux.com/freebook. Speaking of books, number 2. Write several books that sell okay. The trap many people fall into is they think you need to write the next Harry Potter or 50 Shades of Grey in order to get rich from books. The likelihood of you knocking it out of the park is incredibly low. With that said, getting to $1 million from writing books is a pretty doable job if you find the right angle and an audience willing to purchase. Few people know this, but in order to become a New York Times best-selling author, you only need to sell around 10,000 books. It can even be as low as 5,000 books if you've been on the list before. If your writing is good, just keep putting out more and more books until one of them is a hit. There are plenty of examples of people who did it this way, but our favorite by far is Amanda Hocking. You probably have no idea who she is. She's been rejected by almost every single publisher in the game. None of her novels were given a shot. She was broke but really wanted to go to a Muppets convention, but she needed the money for gas to drive to the event. In order to make some of the $300 she needed, she self-published her novels on Kindle. 1 month later, she had made over $20,000, so she added all of her novels up there. 20 months into it, she's made over $2.5 million from books which were not good enough to be picked up by a publisher. Pro tip, if you have a podcast, blog, a YouTube channel, any form of audience, people will want to support your efforts and are even willing to pre-order your work just to share the journey with you. Number 3. License a patent or trademark to a big company. Another creative way to add value to the world is by being an inventor, designer, or engineer. If you can figure out a way to solve a problem better than what's out there already, you could be sitting on a gold mine. A great example of this is Lonnie Johnson. Again, you probably have no idea who he is, but you've probably heard of the Super Soaker. While toying around, pun intended, he created this cool toy, but didn't have the skills to create an entire company, produce, market, and sell individual products. So he licensed the technology to a company called Hasbro. He got paid a 3% royalty out of the price of every unit sold, making over $100 million from this deal alone. He now has 80 patents and a net worth of over $350 million. Pro tip. We know patents are expensive, but there are certain ways to protect yourself, even without having an internationally issued patent. What you need to do is to document how your invention works in extreme details. Have that in writing and burned into a CD or USB drive, and mail it in a sealed envelope to yourself. When the envelope arrives back, it should contain the date and stamp of a government institution. Never break that seal. If it comes down to it, this is your undeniable proof that you were the first one to figure this out, and rights should be awarded to you in a patent case, or at least end up in a highly lucrative settlement. Number 4. Start a dropshipping company under your own label. For those of you who have no idea what dropshipping is, it's a very fun and interesting business model where you find a supplier, someone who can create, package, and deliver a product on your behalf. Your job is to bring in the sales. Here's how it goes. Let's say you found a supplier who can package and deliver weight loss tea from China for $5 per package. You now set up a website where you can sell that exact product for $20 a piece. When the order comes in, you send over the $5 to the supplier with the details from the order, who takes care of everything and delivers the item to the buyer on your behalf, yourself keeping the remaining $15. Cha-ching, profit! We didn't choose weight loss tea by accident either. We've actually studied and analyzed the success a young entrepreneur named Greta Van Riel had in this space. She's the one who started the entire Instagram model fitness tea phenomenon. 6 months into her business, she was bringing in over $500,000 per month. If that number shocks you, you might want to read up on her, since she's one of our personal heroes. During new product launches, she made over $1 million in a single day, just to let you know that these kinds of numbers are possible. You know how Kylie Jenner is almost a billionaire now? She's been using the dropshipping model as well. She owns 100% of the company and has only 6 employees. All production and fulfillment is outsourced to a different company. Number 5. Start a small business and keep growing. Although most of the ideas mentioned on this list are super specific, the way most people end up millionaires is by creating a small business and just growing it. We know it sounds a tad more general, but this comprises the hustler mindset, which is focused on growth. Starting a new business is always difficult, but the path is more or less the same no matter which business you choose. It all starts with solving a problem, figuring out how to get paid, and then bringing in people so you can focus on what is important for the business to grow. Everyone has a few business ideas in their heads. It's just a matter of implementation. Although that might sound overwhelming, the process is pretty straightforward and simple. That's why we've created a video called 15 Things to Know When Starting a Business, which you can check out by clicking in the top right corner. If you're planning on starting your first business, there probably isn't a more important video to watch than that one. Number 6. Aggressively save money and put it in index funds for several years. You need to understand the power of the compound interest and use it to get rich. Someone might say it's the most important mathematical discovery in the world, and by someone, we mean Albert Einstein, who numerous times said, "Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." If you understand money and investment funds, you know that a 7% annual return is easily doable. Now it's a matter of just how much money you can save. Traditional strategies go like this. If you're able to save 10% of your yearly income, and let's say you earn $50,000 per year, it will take you 40 years to get $1 million saved. But who wants to be a millionaire when they're old? That's not the ALUX way. But it gets a lot more interesting if you're able to play around with those numbers. You should try to increase all 3 most important variables. 1. The amount of money you earn. 2. The amount of money you're able to put aside. And 3. The return on your investment. While the first 2 depend on your own choices, the third one, on the other hand, is pretty straightforward. For example, the first thing we should do is take the money out of a 7% mutual fund and put it in an index fund, like the S&P 500. For those of you new to this, the S&P 500 is a fund made out of the top 500 companies in the US. If a company is not performing well, it gets taken out and replaced by a new, worthy company. For the past 90 years, the S&P 500 generated an average of 10% yearly returns. Although we're not sponsored by them, we would recommend you look into Vanguard and Robinhood. And if you're not the entrepreneurial type, meaning you're not sure how to create a multi-million-dollar company by selling products or services, there's this really great book by Tony Robbins called Money, Master the Game, which we cannot recommend enough. It's the book we gift our friends on how to get rich in the safest way possible. You can even get the audiobook for free if you sign up at alux.com/freebook. Number 7. Do an ICO. For the past couple of years, crypto has been the wild, wild west of money. The amount of people who get really rich really fast on crypto has been astonishing to us. For those not familiar with the crypto terminology, initial coin offerings, also known as ICOs, are an alternative form of crowdfunding, where a company issues tokens at a discounted price so they can use the early funding to create a digital service which will run on said tokens. If the product is successful, your initial tokens could skyrocket in value based on the demand for them. We would not actually recommend investing in other people's ICOs unless you know them to be trustworthy and have a solid team behind them. Instead, create your own blockchain-based company and seek private investors to back it up. Only after the product has gained some traction, you should be ready for your own ICO, where you open it up to the public as